So I'm ready to walk you through a tool. Are you ready to learn? Are you ready to apply the knowledge that I've already shared with you? I hope the answer is yes. So if you have the ability, I want you to just drop into your body through breath. Start taking some longer breaths. If you have the space and the time, close your eyes. And I want you to think about last week in your relationships. So it could be personal, it could be family. This is a show about relationships. I would love for you to think of an example within an intimate relationship or if you're dating, but no relationship's right or wrong. Just think about what was difficult in this relationship. So if you can, maybe just pause this and think for a couple of moments about what is really difficult for you and maybe take some notes. And I'm going to walk you through a tool. So this tool is 6 steps to get to emotional fitness. So this is something, it's a tool that you can start to integrate when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're starting to feel these catabolic emotions. If you're feeling great emotionally, most times you're not going to run it through this method to change the emotion. You are feeling good, so you want to stay in that emotion. This is really for when you're feeling those emotions that do not feel good, where you're feeling really stuck, you don't know how to move forward, you're frustrated, you're feeling isolated, you're not feeling safe. So the first step is press pause, right? It's about being able to take a time out and understand that it's okay that you're flooded, right? That you need to press pause to observe and allow some time to internally observe without taking action. Step is not about action. It's just about softening and opening to be able to receive different information about what it is that you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. The second step is I want you to accept. Not accept, not accept that what happened was okay, but to accept that it actually happened. So knowing that emotions like anger and resentment and stress and shame are normal, they're all a part of the human experience. Whatever you're feeling is okay, and it is like weather, and it will pass. So once you've accepted that you're at this place, the third thing is to grab that wheel of emotion and to name your emotion. I'm going to actually put the Instagram post to the wheel of emotion in the podcast notes so that you can grab it if you need it. But naming your emotion is the way to, once you name it, you can tame it. The science says when you can name the emotion, you can start to tame it and dissipate it. Brene Brown talks about this. Carol Dweck talks about this, but we can't change what we don't notice. And so it's really important for us, again, to be able to pause, accept, and then notice and name what it is that we're feeling. It's through our labeling that our emotional fitness starts to really grow and expand. You start to better understand yourself. And through that, you're also going to better understand other people. Once you name your emotions, it's time to validate the feelings, right? So it's time for you to tell yourself that it makes sense why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. So it would sound something like this. Jacqueline, it makes total sense that you're upset and hurt and feeling really abandoned because Brad ghosted you, right? So telling yourself it makes sense. It makes sense you're hurt and disappointed and upset and you feel worthless because some dumb guy named Brad ghosted you, right? So once we're able to validate ourselves, it's about hugging ourselves, like giving us the validation, that soothing touch of saying, you've got this. I know this is really hard, but you're so capable. And one of the things I love with this step, the hug it out step, is you can do a couple of different things. I've talked about inner child healing work before. So you can think of yourself as like a future version of yourself. And you can think back to a younger version of yourself and give yourself a hug, right? It can be a future version, just loving on this baby version of you. And that can be a really healing moment. Another thing you could do is it could be, if you're single and you're wanting to be in a relationship, it can be the you of the future that is in the most happy, amazing place in her relationship. And she can be the one that's hugging you. And she can be telling you, you know what, like, Brad, bless his sweetheart, Brad is not for you. And when you find that person, it's going to feel so different. It's not going to feel like this. So it's this way of giving ourselves this beautiful affirmation of like, this pain is temporary and I'm going to pull you through to the other side. You're capable. You've so got this. And then the last step 6, is to transmute it. So before I get into the step, I do want to just say that it's not like you feel angry, you use this tool, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, anger's gone, big check, got it. I felt my feelings. Anger is going to continue to come up, right? Like these catabolic emotions come up for a reason. They're powerful tools to show us where we are out of alignment in our lives. And so if you keep stuffing these big feelings underneath of your bed, you're in trouble, because when you don't process an emotion and you store it in the body, it comes back at twice the force. So there's an amazing book that's called, I'm kind of blanking on the name, The Body Keeps Score. And it's about this concept of the body is holding on to trauma. And sometimes our emotional experiences can be experienced as trauma, right? So this is trauma work. Dealing with our emotions is basically like, do I love myself enough to guide myself through this so that I don't have toxic trauma moving forward? So, we might have to move through this several times, right? Like if you're dealing with grief, you have a loved one that passed away or your dog passed away, like mine did last year. It's not like I go through this 6-step tool and it's done. It just gives me insight, right? I have to continue to visit that emotion to process it. We all process things differently. The key is to actually process it so that we can move forward in a way that's more aligned with what we want, what we desire, and what we require to be in our lives. It's there. We just have to know what our boundaries are. All right, so 6th step, transmute it. So once we have identified the emotion, the anger, the judgment, the shame, and our thoughts have settled and we're ready to move forward from a place where like we're ready for aligned action, right? You're like, I'm ready to not feel sorry for myself anymore. I want to move forward. You get to choose what emotion you move forward with. So what I offer is curiosity. I offer acceptance, and I offer joy. Right? Like if we can just move forward from a place of, Brad ghosted me and I'm going to accept it. Right? And I'm going to get curious. I'm going to ask myself, what signs did I potentially see? Did I see anything? Has this happened to me in the past? Right? Is there indications of what this is going to look like moving forward? And recognizing it's not about you, right? Get curious with the situation versus holding it from a place of judgment. If you look at it from a place of acceptance, where it's like, I know this wasn't about me. This had nothing to do with me. This had to do with Brad. And I have some new data of how I want to be able to move forward, how I can ensure that maybe this doesn't happen moving forward. How could I possibly do that? So that's when it's time for us to move forward. So that's the 6-step method. Number 1, pause. Number 2, accept. Number 3, name the emotions. Number 4, validate the feelings. 5, hug it out. And 6, transmute it. Whew, we talked a lot about emotions, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. I want to ask you some questions, some reflections. So of the podcast today, what did you learn about your emotional fitness? how do you now better understand your emotions in relationship? What can you do now, today, this week, to grow your emotional fitness? What are some emotions that are challenging for you to work with? And I just want to offer that if one of them is shame, you're not alone. Shame is a tough one. So I hope today was beneficial for you. I know it was. I hope you received a lot from this. I hope you have some information about yourself moving forward. And I want to invite you to share this with somebody that you think would benefit from it if they're in a place in their relationship where they're wanting more, which I don't know many people who don't want more in their relationships. This might be great for them. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. Subscribe, rate me, and send me any questions on the gram or on LinkedIn that you might have about yourself and your relationships. I would love to hear from you, and I can't wait to chat with you more soon.